The crystalline prison had held Vorkathax for 317 cycles. The ancient dragon's scales, once shimmering with the iridescent colors of nebulae, had dulled to ash gray. His massive form lay coiled in the center of the quantum cage, barely moving, conserving what little moisture remained in his desiccated cells. The collective had imprisoned him here, on this barren moon orbiting a forgotten star, for crimes he could no longer remember clearly. Perhaps it was for refusing to join their empire. Perhaps for protecting worlds they wanted to harvest. The details had evaporated like water on sun-baked stone, leaving only the endless, consuming thirst. Vorkathax had not tasted liquid in 2 centuries. His kind could survive without it technically for millennia. But survival and living were different things. Every moment was agony. His throat felt like collapsing stars. His thoughts moved like glaciers. Even his ability to shift between dimensions had withered, leaving him trapped in this singular, torturous reality. Then she arrived. The human girl materialized at the edge of his vision, a ripple in spacetime that his weakened senses almost missed. She couldn't have been more than 20 cycles old by human standards, wearing a patched environment suit that had seen better days. Her ship, barely visible through the energy field, was a rust bucket freighter that somehow still flew. Vorkathax watched her through half-closed eyes as she approached the prison field, scanning it with primitive equipment. She was muttering to herself, a habit he found oddly endearing given his state. "Okay, Maya, you can do this. Just retrieve the artifact, sell it to the highest bidder, and finally afford those new engine cores." She paused, squinting at her scanner. "Wait. Life signs? That can't be right." The dragon tried to speak, but only a rasping wheeze emerged. Still, it was enough. The girl's head snapped toward him, her eyes widening behind her helmet visor. "Holy, that's not an artifact. That's a void dragon." She stumbled backward, nearly tripping over a rock formation. A real actual void dragon. They're supposed to be extinct. Vorkathax summoned every fragment of strength remaining in his massive frame. He lifted his head mere inches from the ground, his voice emerging as barely more than a whisper that echoed directly into her mind. "Water. Please." Maya froze. Her hand instinctively went to the water recycler attached to her suit belt.
She looked at the dragon, then at her water supply indicator, then back at the dragon. "You're asking me for water?"
Her voice cracked with disbelief. "Do you have any idea what water is worth out here? This is a weak supply for me. Dying. 3 centuries. The girl stood there, torn between self-preservation and something else, something deeper. Vorkathax could see the conflict playing across her features even through the helmet. Humans were supposed to be ruthless according to collective propaganda. They were supposed to be violent, greedy, thinking only of themselves. But this one hesitated. "This is insane," Maya muttered, detaching her water container. "This is absolutely insane. My father would say I'm an idiot. The guild would revoke my salvager license for wasting resources." She approached the quantum field, studying it carefully. With a few adjustments to her multi-tool, she created a small gap, just large enough to toss the container through. It landed with a soft thud near Vorkathax's snout. The dragon's claws trembled as he pulled the container closer. It was small, pathetically small for a being his size. The entire container held perhaps 2 liters of precious liquid. For a creature who once drank from planetary oceans, it was nothing. It was everything. Vorkathax opened the container with surprising gentleness and drank. The water flowed over his cracked tongue, down his parched throat, and something awakened inside him. Not just physical relief, though that was profound. Something deeper. Something that had nearly died in these 3 centuries. Hope. His scales began to shimmer just slightly. Color returned to the edges, faint but unmistakable. The water wasn't enough to restore him fully, but it was enough to remember what restoration felt like. "Why?" he asked, genuinely confused. "Humans are not known for mercy." "Yeah, well," Maya said, her voice softer now. "Maybe you've been listening to the wrong humans. Besides, nobody deserves to die of thirst, not even a giant space dragon who could probably eat me in one bite." "I do not eat sentient beings," Vorkathax replied with as much dignity as he could muster. "And, thank you. Those words are insufficient, but they are all I have." Maya knelt down outside the field, studying him more carefully now. "How did you end up here? Who did this to you?" Over the next hour, Vorkathax told her his story. The collective's expansion. His refusal to serve. The battle that left him weakened enough to capture. The sentence to this prison meant to last until he faded from existence entirely. Maya listened, her expression growing darker with each revelation. "That's messed up," she finally said. "Really messed up. And you've just been here for 300 years? Nobody tried to help?" The collective ensured this location was forgotten. "I do not even know if my kind still exist." The girl stood up, pacing. Okay, I came here for salvage, but this is bigger. I can't just leave you here." She turned to face him directly. "I'm going to get you out. Impossible. The quantum field requires—" "I said I'm going to get you out," Maya interrupted, her voice firm with that peculiar human stubbornness he'd heard about. "It might take me a while to figure out the code, and I'll probably have to sell my ship to buy the right equipment. And I might end up on the collective's wanted list, but nobody deserves this. Nobody." Vorkathax felt something he hadn't experienced in centuries. Not just hope, but something warmer. Gratitude mixed with wonder. Here in this forgotten corner of space, a human girl with barely enough water for herself had shared her supply with an alien creature that could offer her nothing in return. She had chosen compassion over profit, mercy over logic. Perhaps the dragon thought he had been wrong about humans. Perhaps the entire galaxy had been wrong. "If you do this," Vorkathax said softly, "you will have earned the eternal friendship of the last void dragon." "That is not nothing, young Maya," she grinned behind her helmet. "Well then, friend, let's get you something more to drink and figure out how to break the universe's most annoying cage. I've got water purification tablets and a really stubborn personality. How hard can it be?" Vorkathax managed something that might have been a laugh. For the first time in 317 cycles, he believed he might see the stars again. All because one human girl decided that kindness mattered more than survival.